Back with another simple but not basic video. I know a lot of guys out there just want something that they can wear all year round. I get that question all the time. Once again, we're keeping it simple. We're talking about scent profiles that thrive year round in all seasons. Each of the 10 fragrances will have a prominent freshness that makes them suitable for the warmer times, and they'll also have dimension and or depth that allows them to have staying power and presence during the cooler months. And as somewhat of an inverse result, each fragrance will have a freshness that does just fine in the cold and a depth that does not become too intrusive when it's a little bit warmer. We have balance. You'll just need to adjust your sprays depending on the weather or climate. The first 5 fragrances we'll talk about are kind of usual suspects on my channel. You've seen them several times before if you've been following me for any number of years. And I just couldn't leave them out. They're perfect for this. But the second half of the list will be some fragrances that maybe I've touched on here and there, but for the most part, you don't really see them talked about across YouTube. Make sure you stay tuned for the second half to get some newness. And finally, if you want to see a designer version of this list, because this is obviously niche, let me know. With all that out the way, let's dive right into it. First one up here is currently, I believe, my favorite fragrance from the house of Amouroud. It is a vetiver fragrance. It is a beautifully balanced and complex vetiver that is super wearable and just perfect for this. This is called Lunar Vier. This is a fresh, clean, dry, spicy, woody vetiver with a little bit of this creamy sweetness that comes out as it dries down, like a vanilla almost. It's very subtle, but it adds this beautiful bit of dimension to the scent. Again, perfectly balanced here. I get good performance out of this. It does smell reminiscent to the type of vetiver you get out of gray vetiver from Tom Ford, except maybe a little bit more nuanced and more complex than gray vetiver. There's more going on in this one. But if you like gray vetiver, you're probably gonna like Lunar Vetiver, maybe even more. But this wears classy and elegant, perfectly for the daytime, but its elegance does make it just fine for pretty much any occasion. It can be casual or classy, doesn't matter. That's our first pick, Lunar Vetiver. I know many of you have tried this fragrance on my recommendation, and I've seen most of you saying you love this stuff about as much as I do. But there are a few of you who say you don't get it, you don't understand how anyone could like this, you don't like it. Welcome to life. That is Gentle Fluidity Silver from Maison Francis Kurkdjian, probably my favorite from the house that I've tried. This is probably the most versatile option I've tried. It has a metallic-like freshness to it, cooling. Juniper berry is to thank for that. Very clean smelling, very sharp, very attention getting, but behind it is this sweet warmth, this musky sweet warmth, amber and musk, some coriander in there. That's really it. It's actually kind of a simple scent profile, but it comes together in a very beautifully nuanced way where nothing really screams out too much. I'd say the juniper berry is maybe the most prominent ingredient in this one. Its gold counterpart is more on the warmer side, even though having the same ingredients, just reproportioned, having more of a vanilla amber forward scent. This one more cooling fresh. So men might cater to this one a little bit more. Nonetheless, it is meant to be unisex, and it is perfect for year-round wear because it is strangely powerful. You wouldn't think it, but I easily get 10, 15 hours out of this fragrance, which is just a nice bonus. Gentle Fluidity Silver, easily wearable all year round, any occasion. This one might be a little weird for some of you, but I know a lot of you do enjoy it for its weirdness, but it's also pretty dang versatile. This is Ganymede from Marc-Antoine Barrois. Also kind of metallic, fresh, minerally, almost salty in a way, cold smelling. It's supposed to represent Ganymede, which is Jupiter's largest moon, also the largest known moon in our solar system. And it does have this kind of cold outer space feel, I guess. But honestly, the more practical way I could describe this scent is it smells like the interior of a brand new luxury automobile. There's a little bit of this brand new, clean leather feel with fresh metallic. It's clean, but it's odd, but it's very sophisticated. Not something I would spray a ton of in the heat. I think it could get to be way too much because of its strangeness. So be mindful of that. But otherwise, if you love it, it's an easy wear. Ganymede. When I first smell this fragrance, the first thing I think of is a summer night, a classy summer night out, but honestly, you could wear it any time of the year. It has a beautiful balance to it. From Roja Parfums, this is Burlington, 1819. This is citrus and rum, lots of grapefruit, rum, some spices like cumin, but there is this ambery warmth. It's pretty pervasive, sweet, expansive ambery warmth. It's like a bed that just houses the freshness, the realistic, juicy, sparkling citrus, and that very wet smelling booziness. It's all encapsulated here in a beautiful balance, has great performance, maybe a little bit more on the classy side, but I think it could be casual just fine. Roja Parfum, Burlington 1819. And our final usual suspect, one that has been a mainstay on my channel for a few years now, from Amouage, this is Beach Hut Man. This is not going to be for everyone because it does carry a mature vibe. There is a more elevated kind of mature gentleman vibe here. Green, mossy, and fresh and minty. It smells like foliage in a way, smells like woods. There's a beautiful myrrh note that is a sweet resinous glue to the scent, kind of binds all the greens and woods together. Gives it a little bit of a smooth, sweet depth that I think helps it perfectly for the cooler months, but its strength alone would help with that too. Scent profile smells very springtime, but also could be summer, could be a winter green scent if you want to smell coniferous in the winter with that cold air that just works for everything. But again, more for the classy guy. That is Beach Hut Man from Amouage. All right, last half. This fragrance I've talked about a few times on my channel, but I've only had it for maybe a year or so it's still a relatively new player to the lineup. This is Papilefiko from Nishane. Wow, fresh, spicy, and warm balsamic. There's a lot of cardamom in here, which is honestly a little bit alluring. This fresh, spicy sweetness that is kind of a sexy vibe, but there is a lot of oak moss and resins backing it up that makes it smell a little bit classier. I could see it day or night. I could see you dressing it up or down. Doesn't really matter. It is quite strong, as Nishane is known for. I would say that the freshness isn't super long lasting here, so not my first pick for the highest summer heat. There's others I'd choose over this, but again, you could manage your sprays and you can totally get away with it just fine. Your mileage will probably vary. This is perfect for this any time of the year, all occasions. Nishane Papilefiko. One of the most versatile fragrances from Fragrance du Bois, and one of the easiest ones I can recommend for the price because it does have a unique scent profile, it does have great performance, and it can be worn any time of the year. That's why it's in this video. This is Oud Bleu Intense. The name is interesting. It is kind of blue, but it's kind of the illusion of blue. You do have this citrusy freshness that is amplified by lots of resins, and it's strange to come across a resinous fragrance that is fresh, but it kind of is, and it's just beautifully blended. It is definitely kind of clean smelling with that fresh citrus and woodiness, a little bit of orange, I believe. It's easy to understand, but it's really unlike anything I've tried. It smells like nothing else. I truly appreciate that. It works all year round. That is Oud Bleu Intense from Fragrance du Bois. This next one up is Odd. This one is not going to be for all of you guys. Some of you will find this strange smelling. It is a rather polarizing scent. For being relatively simple, it smells like nothing else out there and might rub some of you the wrong way. From Aroma, who is known for their very powerful fragrances. They call this one Rafaelo. And this is kind of an odd woody leather with a lot of wormwood or absinthe. There is this sharp green herbal quality that's almost mentholic in a way. This almost dirty smelling leathery wood, almost off in a way, but it's done in a classy way. There's some tonka bean backing it up, bringing a touch of an approachable vanilla-like sweetness that is present, but it's not upfront. Wears very differently. For some reason, I love this stuff. I love the oddity of it, but I can see some people not really caring for it. So sample first. I'm gonna have a link down below, but if you do love it, all of its oddness, all of these ingredients that work together, it has a great balance and it works all year round. That is Rafaelo from Aroma. Here's another one that I have talked about here and there over the years, but no one else really speaks about this one, let alone the brand itself. An Italian brand known as Nobile 1942. They call this Ponte Vecchio. This is the men's version. There is a women's version, which I have not tried, but the men's version is wonderful, very wearable, but very different. It's a unique blend of Fresh aromatic florals, geranium being the most prominent, so that kind of lemony, rosy mintiness really makes up the face of the scent. Maybe with some bright citruses accenting it. There is a prominent, slightly powdery iris, not waxy or anything like that, as iris can be, more on the powdery side, but still fresh, with a woody vetiver. And I think the vetiver keeps things on the masculine side of things. And it has, again, this balance where there is a warmth, the woodiness does bring some depth, but it is mostly kind of a fresh, clean, floral citrus fragrance. And it has great performance. If you smell it up close, you will notice that, hey, I haven't really smelled anything like this before, but you might like it. It's very wearable. That is Ponte Vecchio from Nobile 1942. The final fragrance from an indie brand known as Rogue from perfumer Manuel Cross. This is called Mousse Illuminée. I do have to thank what was known as the Fresh Fam, my Patreon group, which is currently paused. I'm not really doing Patreon right now, but at the time that I was, a bunch of the guys pitched in for my birthday and bought me this fragrance. I'll never forget that. So I appreciate you guys so much. I will be honest, when I first smelled it, it wasn't really my thing. And not because it smelled bad, but it just kind of smelled odd to me. It smelled a way that it wasn't supposed to. I was getting like a grape syrup or a grape soda vibe, which is the oddest thing. I can't even explain it, but right now it doesn't smell like that to me anymore. It really has opened up. Maybe it needed to mature. I don't know. Maybe my nose needed to mature, honestly. But this is an oak moss fragrance. This is green, mossy, woody to the max. It is an oak moss bomb, and it's very natural smelling. Honestly, it smells a little bit like Polo Green, if you can imagine that, but a niche version of it, a robust niche, more natural version of it that is more unapologetic, much stronger, and therefore maybe a little bit more polarizing. Very masculine stuff here. It does have a prominent green freshness, but it is very deep in its mossiness. So again, that balance is here. Day or night, cool or warm, it'll work, but because it's so strong, you don't need to spray much, especially when it's warm. I'm warning you. And similar to Beach Hut, which is the closest thing I would tie this to in terms of what we've talked about in this video, this is going to be slightly more mature. The younger guy may not care for this, so do sample first. I'm going to have links to this and everything else I've talked about down in the description. Sample first if you can. You want to make sure you love these, otherwise you won't wear them. You have been warned. That is Mousse Illuminée from Rogue. All right, I want to know what you think of these fragrances. If you've tried them, do you agree that these are all great year-round fragrances? Do you totally disagree? Am I just speaking a load of bullocks? Here in the US, that word means absolutely nothing to us, but if you're in the UK, I do apologize if you found that offensive. Once again, links to everything down in the description, and I want to thank you so much for tuning in. Peace. I'll see you in the next one.